Hello everybody, our group have done an analysis of the character, Dr. Dorian in Shelley's Web. In children's literature, fairy tale is one type of story that has been popular over the years. It's an effective way for children to develop creativity through being exposed to imaginational worlds in their early learning years. For years, imagination was thought of as a way for children to escape from reality, and once they reached a certain age, it was believed they would push fantasy aside and deal with the real world. But child development experts are recognizing the importance of imagination and the role it plays in understanding reality. Imagination is necessary for learning about people and events we don't directly experience, such as history or events on the other side of the world. For young kids, it allows them to ponder the future, such as what they want to do when they grow up. It plays a key role in helping children take others' point of views. The researchers found that while children as young as 3 understand the concept of what is real and what is not, until they are about 7, kids are easily misled by adults' persuasive words or by evidence. Therefore, let's watch a video about the study of imagination in children's play.
I think some glass broke.
Children today have less time to play.
Help!
Unstructured play, when they could just use their own imagination.
On the roof.
Psychology professor Sandra Russ studies how pretend play affects child development.
What we have found in my lab is that children who express imagination in play and who express emotion in play are also able to do other things, like be creative in solving problems, better regulate their own emotions.
So what happens when good old-fashioned play is replaced with video games and structured activities? Russ's lab analyzed data of more than 700 children they've studied over 23 years.
We thought, given that there's less playtime, that children would be showing less imagination in play. But that's not what we found. What we found was that imagination in play is increasing significantly. And I think what this means is that children are resilient.
And that children have a need to play and will find ways to do it.
Maybe video games are helping. Maybe the complexity of the world that they have to live in is helping them to develop imagination.
Russ points out that this is a single, limited study. She continues to research play, including looking at ways of helping children increase imagination in play.
To develop creativity and ways of coping with difficult situations later in life.
Learn more on how Case Western Reserve University thinks beyond the possible at case.edu.
In order to encourage children to read fairy tale stories, E.B. White used the writing skill of anthropomorphism to write a fantastic story called Shelley's Web, which is about a pig and a spider, and a family and the animals on a farm. The spider Shelley, she could write English words in her web, which saves Wilbur. In the story, though Dr. Dorian is a minor character, he plays a significant role in indirect characterization, in which the author tries to help adults understand that children have natural imagination and curiosity about their environment, and he encourages adults need to be open to children's symbolic thought.
Dr. Dorian is enchanted to hear that Fermi is spending so much time of her time with the animals at Zucker's Manse. Naturally, Dr. Dorian has heard about Wilbur and the words that appeared in the spider's web. Agitated, Mrs. Arable asks him if he understands how it could happen. The doctor replies that he doesn't understand how the words have appeared, but that he doesn't really understand how spiders spin webs either, which he thinks is a real miracle. Then Mrs. Arable asks if he believes that animals really do talk to Fermi. He says he has never heard animal talking, but that he was ready to believe what Firm has said. Mrs. Arable feels reassured and greatly relieved after she hearing this. She thanks the doctor for his help and leaves. The first literary mention of the Dr. Dorian, one of the major tribes in ancient Greece, is in the Odyssey, and Dr. Dorian himself offers equal reverence and authority in Charlotte's Web. As a scientific doctor, he is trusted by Mrs. Arable, and she goes to him to ask why Firm thinks she can speak to the animals. You would expect Dr. Dorian to be skeptical about Charlotte's Web. After all, how could you possibly comprehend that a spider had written words in a web? However, Dr. Dorian sensibly points out that the web is a real miracle, and for that reason it's not too hard to believe the words have appeared in the spider web. His scientific authority speaks volumes and lends Charlotte's action new credibility. When Mrs. Arable is reassured by the doctor, she feels a lot more relaxed. She trusts him before her own daughter because he's an adult and he's a doctor. But, as we have already seen in Mrs. Zuckerman, adults are not necessary to be trusted, and it is the children who are able to appreciate what the adults have often come to take for granted. Dr. Dorian mentions something interesting at the end of the chapter. When he asks Mrs. Arable if Firm spends time with the boys, Mrs. Arable tells him that she likes Henry Fushy. His response is, remarkable. Well, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Let Firm associate with her friends in the barn if she wants to. I would say, offhand, that spiders and pigs were fully as interesting as Henry Fushy. Yet, I predict that the day will come and when even Henry will drop some chance to remark that catches Firm's attention. He's scratching Henry Fushy's butt, more importantly, anticipate Firm's future. Dr. Dorian clearly thinks that Henry is an uninteresting and unimaginative boy who will one day turn into an unimaginative adult, incapable of noting the beauty in the world. Firm's association with him marks the beginning of her adult journey, where she moves away from innocence and imagination and moves forward to a conventional future. In children's early development, children's imagination helps open up their brain to gain new knowledge and experiences through creativity and fantasies without setting any limitation to learn. As a scientific doctor, Dr. Dorian chose to believe when Mrs. Arable told him the story of the speaking animals at the Zucker's farm. Dr. Dorian understands that children are born natural imagination and curiosity. Also, they can play in many different creative and imaginative ways based on many different factors, like the age of the child and the play environment, etc. It would be normal for Firm playing creatively and applying her imagination to the animals at Zucker's man's farm to make them become human and do the speaking language. Dr. Dorian has changed Mrs. Arable's perspective on this incident. She thinks Dr. Dorian is trustworthy because of his wealth of knowledge. Dr. Dorian said, "Children pay better attention in Zucker's barn's talk. I am quite ready to believe her. Perhaps, if people talk less, animals would talk more. People are incessant talkers. I can give you my word on that." Dr. Dorian wants to convince Mrs. Arable to believe the story that Firm has told because he knows the importance of imagination to children's youth development. He sets himself as an example and encourages Mrs. Arable to listen more to children. When they are trying to raise up their voices in the family, so they could have more opportunities to express their feelings and to be trusted by adults.
In the story, Dr. Dorian is a significant character that helps parents understand children are naturally imaginative and curious about their environment, and encourage parents to accepting children's symbolic thought. Fern was lucky. In one sense, at least her thought was accepted by the doctor, whom her mother asked for. Although Dr. Dorian appears only twice in the book, he plays such a significant role. He lends credibility to the whole fairy tale with his proper scientific approach. His goal, Dr. Dorian said about animals speaking by Fern, is to help Fern escape the tyranny of blue sky thinking, and to understand and appreciate the beauty of innocence. It has condensed the care and support the expert like Dr. Dorian and parents like Mrs. Arable. Fairy tale is regarded as a tool of cognitive education, while the behavior patterns established in childhood accompany children's growth and influence their life deeply.